Welcome to Ricky Julius Talks, where faith meets motivation. Today, guest is Hannah, a 23 years old who grew up around faith but wrestled with doubt, identity, and purpose. If you are navigating modern life and wondering where God fits in, this one is for you. Let's get into it. Let's start with basic. Tell us a bit about yourself and how your journey with Jesus began.
Yeah, of course. So I grew up in the country, in a country town, and around church, around faith, and around Christianity. So my family went to church. But it wasn't until I was a little bit older, in my teens, and even most recently, that I actually came to commit my life to Jesus.
Wow, that's such a common journey. Being around and faith doesn't always mean it's personal yet. I love how you said it became real later. It shows God works on His timing.
Absolutely.
So Hannah, what's been the biggest challenge for you and what you have faced as a Christian in today's world?
Absolutely. There's always so many challenges and things that interrupt our lives and can distract us. And I think coming and growing up in a young person's culture that really prioritizes the self and living for your own joy and pleasure, it meant that it was really challenging coming against friends that were kind of wanting to live to go out and get drunk or just do things that you're living for yourself essentially, for no one else. And coming from a background in faith where I really want to prioritize God and put Him first in everything I do, it means shifting that mindset and really thinking, I want to live for God, and going out and partying, that doesn't really care for others in many ways or care for God, it's just for myself. Flipping that kind of stereotype and living for Jesus instead.
Absolutely. Culture pushes so hard in one direction and saying no, it requires boldness. But that's the narrow path Jesus talked about, and it's worth it. So my next question to you, Hannah, is, was there a particular moment when you really felt God presence?
Yeah, there's been a few moments in my life where I've really felt God's presence in where I was in my life circumstances. One was in a basement at my auntie's house. It was at a time where I was really doubting my faith and not in a good path, I'd say, of where I was. And I had this moment where I really realised what I was living for and why I'm here. So even in a basement, that kind of thing can happen. And then even in the natural environment, I really feel connected to God and seeing His creation and seeing what He's made and how beautiful it is and how it works so well.
That's beautiful. God shows up in, realest places.
Yeah.
I love that. How often, we expect Him in churches, but He meets us in the basement and bushland too. What an incredible encounter with God. So Hannah, when life feels overwhelming, how do you stay grounded in your faith?
It's a great question. I think there's a few ways that I really kind of tend to be drawn to, and one is reading my Bible. Super classic, but it's definitely a great way to actually hear God's voice in your life, to read of the promises and to read of the life that He lived, and how they can actually apply to our own lives. A practical thing that I do that I started kind of getting in the habit of is when I find a verse that I connect to or I really think is applicable, I write it down in my phone. So there's one at the moment, which is 1 Peter 5:7, which is cast all your anxieties on Him because He cares for you. Super simple, but a really good reminder of, what am I doing? I know God's always got my back.
Wow, I love that. It's wild how Scripture resets our mindsets, and keeping that verse in your phone, what a simple but powerful practice. What would you say to someone who is struggling with their faith right now?
Such a good question. I definitely start with saying that God's not done with you yet, that He'll really work on your heart because He really cares for you and He wants you to be a part of His family. I think for me, coming and going back and forth between faith and not feeling connected to Jesus and having this distance, despite that, God still chased after me. He pursued my heart and really wanted me to be part of something greater and something bigger. So I'd say it's so worth investigating. Give it the time and thought, and it's so worth opening up your heart to accept it.
That's powerful. God is patient and He's still writing your story, even when you feel lost. Wow, that was Hannah, raw, honest and grounded. Her story reminds us that doubt doesn't disqualify you. it can be the beginning of something deeper. Thanks for tuning in to Ricky Julius Talks, where faith meets motivation. If this spoke to you, share it, tag a friend, and keep showing up. God's still working even when you can't see it. God bless you and stay blessed. Bye.